The 22nd of November, 8 games, in-season tournament. I'm a bit late today. Had a few things on, but I wasn't going to do the show, but hey, no one in my family wants to talk about basketball, so I might as well do a show. This is the post-game show. Let's go balls deep.
I'm the type to get shit done. You the type to observe. March Madness on my speakers, but today's November 23rd. Got something loud in the blunt, yeah. I don't say what I want, yeah. Probably somewhere sunny getting tan. Foreign women in the sun, yeah. That's all that I need. That's all that I need. That's all that I need. Got my brothers with me. Got my brothers with me and my mama's healthy. That's all that I need.
Welcome to the Balls Deep podcast brought to you by Fantasy Basketball International. I am Adam King. Find me on Twitter, on Blue Sky at AdamKing91. Find us on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Also on Twitter at FBI Basketball. We are part of the Old Man Squad network at Old Man Squad or at Dan Besbris if you have any questions or you're looking for other shows. Now, 8 games. Like I said, I am a couple of hours late today. But I thought I'd bang that out anyway because there were some good games. And hey, who doesn't want to talk about fantasy basketball on Saturday night my time, weird time, wherever you are, what are we, like 3 a.m. on the East Coast in the US, something like that. Anyway, if you're watching, thank you. I will get straight into these games. Okay. No, wrong one. All right. First game of the night was the Nets and the Sixers. Sixers get a much-needed win, their third win of the season, 113-98. A bit to talk about on the Sixers side, but we'll start with the Brooklyn side. And Cam Johnson continues his incredible stretch. Now, I thought he was a good late-round target. I didn't think he'd be this good. 37 points. Not doing much else, but who cares? 9 3-pointers, 14 of 21 from the field. Didn't get to the line. Weird. Just looking down their box score now, they were 100% from the free throw line as a team. 7 of 7. It's not a lot of free throws, but look, Cam Johnson, if you can sell high, if you can get a top, I'd say I'd want to go for top 60, but I don't think you're going to get it. So I would just hold him, ride this out. Ben Simmons, terrible, fine. He was good in the last one, not good in this one. If you want to move on, absolutely fine. Same goes for Dorian Finney-Smith. We're probably still holding Dennis Schroeder. He's obviously nowhere near as good as he was to start the season, but 7 assists, 8 points. Yeah, I think he trends towards being a drop at some point, but probably now he's still hold. Cam Thomas was back after his one-game absence. He had 18 points. 7 assists, very nice. 7 turnovers, not nice. Shot the ball okay, but this was the Cam Johnson show. And then off the bench, Nick Claxton. This won't last. He'll come back into the starting lineup at some point. He had 12 points in his 22 minutes. We're holding him and not really looking at anyone else at this stage. For the Sixers, they were without Paul George, who has a bone bruise in his knee. And Joel Embiid, surprise, surprise, missed tonight's game with knee swelling. I said, I think Josh put something up on Twitter and I quoted it and said least surprising news, well, along with Miles Bridges, least surprising news of the day. If you've watched him, I mean, he's putting up good numbers. He's a very, very, very good basketball player, and he is very, very big. But his mobility looks shot. I'm certainly not saying he's washed or anything like that at this point, but he doesn't look healthy at all. Getting up and down the court, he looks very cumbersome. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's very slow moving. So anyway, he was out. I don't know if this extends to another game or not, but it just reinforces the fact that I think I topped him out at about 50 games this season. And what are we into the season now? 15 games, and he's played 2 or 3. So I don't know. I'm fairly comfortable with that number at the moment. But on a positive note, Jared McCain continues to be very, very good. 30 points, 3 assists. This is going to cool off. At some point, he is not going to be this good a scorer. But as for now, you just hold him and ride it out. And Tyrese Maxey, much better here in his second game back. 26 points, 5 assists, 4 steals in 27 minutes. And efficient. This is the Tyrese Maxey we've come to know and love over the years. With no Embiid, Yabusele moved into the starting lineup, had a double-double. I think we need to roster him. I think even if Embiid comes back, Yabusele's been doing stuff. Drummond is a non-factor at this point. He was forced to play 17 minutes here, but that was because they were shorthanded. So no one on that bench for me is worthy of a roster spot. Boston and Washington, credit to Washington. They kept it close, 108-96. Boston get the win. Tatum cooled off a little bit in this one, not his best game scoring-wise, but he also had 9 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals. Good game from Jaylen Brown. Derek White doing Derek White things. Didn't necessarily translate tonight. 10 points, 3 assists, but he'll be fine. Drew Holiday, a nice game. If you've been holding him through some of the junk that's been coming out, he had 16 points, 4 steals. So good. I mean, he's still capable of this. He's just not capable of it as much as he used to be. And it's not required from him either, to be fair. With Al Horford out, he was out due to illness. Cater moved into the starting lineup and had 7 points. Not much there. The fact he started is a good thing, but Luke Cornett, I think, started the second half. He wasn't great either. Peyton Pritchard had 9 points, 4 assists, not his best game. We are holding him, but he is coming back to the field a little bit, and Sam Hauser had 3 threes in his 22 minutes. Okay, over to Washington. And for the Wizards, Brogdon started. Now, I don't know what to make of this. Sorry, reading comments. I don't know what to make of this. Bob Carrington played 22 minutes off the bench and did absolutely nothing. If this is what we're going to get moving forward, Carrington is absolutely a drop, and Brogdon should be rostered. I think I said in the last Wizards game, that Brogdon is going to come out at some point and have like a 20-12 game. He was pretty close here, 18-10. This is the sell high opportunity. He might string together a week of good performances, but the next injury is just around the corner. So in terms of Carrington, I'd probably hold for another game, maybe 2. But if Brogdon is going to start ahead of Carrington and he's only going to play 22 minutes off the bench, then there's not enough there for him to be a must roster. Jordan Poole, a nice game from him, 23 and 8 with a steal. Alex Sarr had 6 points, 9 rebounds, a block. We're holding. It hasn't been great, but we're holding. Kuzma did a Kuzma 21 with nothing else. And Koulibaly, only 6 points, but he had 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, a block. He looks pretty safe, so I think we're okay to continue holding him. Kaishawn George, no point. Jonas Valanciunas double-doubled in his 19 minutes, and that's exactly what we have come to expect. Okay, Warriors and Pelicans. Warriors get the win here, 112-108. Pelicans were competitive, so good on them. They managed to make this one a close game. Andrew Wiggins had 30 points. We talked about him on the live draft that we did this morning, or live redraft, and he went surprisingly late because he has been a top 100 player. He's been playing well, so continue rolling with him. Trace Jackson-Davis had 9 and 8 with a block. He's very borderline, more of a streamer. And as we've said, Wiggins, Curry, and potentially Heald are probably and Green, are the only ones we're holding here for sure. Jackson-Davis, Waters, Podziemski, Kuminga, Moody, Payton, and Heald may end up dropping into that bunch. Heald had 12 points, but if he's only playing 20 minutes, and the Warriors, as we know, they're not afraid to just play everyone 20 minutes, then all of these guys, it's going to be hard for them to have value. For the Pelicans, Brandon Boston moved back to the bench. So a bit of a change in the starting lineup. Murphy started alongside Brandon Ingram. Alfred Payton stuck in the starting lineup. I wasn't sure that would be the case, but he did. Played 26 minutes, 4 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, 3 steals. McCollum is close. He could even return for their next game. So I think Payton's window is really small here. Maybe you get one more game, maybe 2. But I think given he's just come in, I think these streaming players are going to drop off one by one. Payton might be one of the first ones to go. Javonte Green would be one of the first ones to go. Brandon Boston, as I said, moved to the bench but played 35 minutes, had 16, 7 and 5 with 2 steals and a block. So still really good. And I said maybe it was on that live show as well that I actually think a move to the bench might be a good thing for him, at least for now. They will start to get these guys back, although we heard earlier today that Zion is potentially out till January. He seems to think he's going well. They're not going to force this at all. It's the second major hamstring injury that he's had in the last 6 months. So, yeah, they're not going to rush him at all. But as I said, McCollum is close. DeJounte Murray is getting closer. I think Herb Jones is still maybe a week or 2 away. So if you've got any of these guys, just keep holding and you'll know. We'll know when the time is right. Hawks and Bulls. Bulls get the win here. Very high scoring, as we would have expected coming into this game. 136 to 122. Not a lot of defense. For the Hawks, Reece Shea, this is why we don't need to be rostering him. He's starting. I'm assuming maybe he's going to hold on to this role. Hunter could come and get it off him at some point. I would rather Hunter over Reece Shea, and that's saying a lot because I actually don't think Hunter is that good either. But I just think Hunter's floor is a little bit safer because of the scoring. Bogdanovic was better in this one, 16 points, 4 assists. We're holding him. Capella continues to outplay Okongwu, 21 and 11 with a block. We hold Okongwu is a hold, but it's very close. Jalen Johnson, nice game from him. Trae Young, good to see him back on the front foot. Offensively, 25 points, 13 assists, 4 steals, and a block. So very good. His scoring had been down, and he was quiet to start this one, but got going late. So that's good to see. Dyson Daniels, 8 points. Not ideal. Shooting was way off, 3 of 14. He's going to have these games offensively, but he still had 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 steals. So absolutely fine at this stage. Okay, on to the Bulls, and we have got Lone Des here. Thank God for this giddy performance. I lost my waiver wire battle with... okay, so that was to get Isaiah Hartenstein, I assume, and you had second priority. Yeah, he would have been a pretty hot pickup, Isaiah Hartenstein. So, but yes, Giddy was better today. 18, 8 and 6, 2 blocks, shot the ball well. Hopefully this can stick. It appears as though they're just going to, if he's playing well, they're going to play him more minutes. We didn't have Patrick Williams here, of course, and not surprisingly, Torrey Craig was not a factor. His spot start limited to just 1 game. We had Iota Sunmu come in and start in this one. He had a nice game, 20 and 8 with 2 steals. This is absolutely 12-team worthy. I would be holding him until Patrick Williams is back. Zach LaVine, he was good. Vooch was good. Kobe, all the Bulls were good. I mean, not surprisingly against Atlanta, who, other than Dyson Daniels, don't really play defense. Even Dale and Terry had 12 points. Jalen Smith had 13 points. So, yeah, nice game if you streamed in any of these guys here, but the starters all put up good numbers. Portland and Houston, comfortable win for the Rockets, 116 to 88. The Blazers are just settling in nicely into that bottom 2, bottom 3 team range. Jeremy Grant played, but you probably wish he didn't. 5 points, 5 assists. We hold him, but we know who Jeremy Grant is. Tamani Kamara doing just enough. 11 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. He has a nice ability to put up numbers across the board. Donovan Clingan started, but was in some foul trouble early, only 15 minutes. But 9 and 7 with 2 blocks. That's enough. So until Ayton gets back, we hold him. Anthony Simons returned. Didn't do much, 8 points in 21 minutes. But we'll give him a pass. He was coming back off a chest infection illness thing. Shaden Sharp, 13 points with 2 steals. His numbers are always going to take a hit with Simons back, but we're holding him. And the minutes are way down here, as I said, because this was a blowout. We had 24 Chris Murray minutes, 23 Denny Avdia minutes, Ryan Rupert, Delano Banton. So, yeah, I wouldn't be taking too much away from this box score. And likewise for the Rockets, this is the Jabari Smith we don't want to see. 5 points, 2 rebounds, and nothing else in 20 minutes. I did say he was a drop about a week ago, and then he had a couple of good games. This is a bit concerning. This is a poor game. So if you are still holding him, give him another game. As I said, this was a funny matchup given the result. Şengün, 14 and 8, a steal. It's fine. Limited minutes. Fred VanVleet, not his best game. 2 points. Luckily, only shot the ball twice. 8 assists and 2 steals. But then our guys off the bench, Amen Thompson, Tari Eason, both with very good games, continue to play well. Minutes were down a little bit here compared to what we've seen, but the numbers are very good. Amen Thompson, 10 and 11, 3 steals, 2 blocks, 4 assists, and Tari Eason, 22 and 8 with 2 steals. 2 of the more fun players to roster at the moment. We got a question. Let's answer Matt Carmody's question. Would you rather have Keontae George or Pippen Jr.? If we're talking long-term, season long, like thinking into sort of February, March, I would say Keontae George, just because I think once Jar is back, Pippen's only playing 25 minutes at the moment, and that's without Marcus Smart, and it's without Vince Williams, although he's still out for another month. It's without Jar. So I just think Pippen is probably going to be like 20 minutes a night when they're healthy, where I think Keontae George, the Jazz don't care. They're just going to roll him out 30-plus minutes a night. So I think Pippen has a little bit more per-minute upside, but Keontae George's volume should supersede that. And Couchhead, thank you. Finally rating. As I said, yeah, if you are watching on Twitter or anywhere, just take 30 seconds to go over to Spotify or YouTube or wherever and do whatever you need to do over there. And then Dashel Gordon, yeah, so this is in relation to Matt Carmody's question, I would believe. Depends if you believe in Jar's health. Yeah, well, that's a question in itself, isn't it? It does sound like Jar is getting pretty close. I think he's potentially next week he might be back, but it's ongoing health issues for Jar. And if you watch him play, it's not surprising because he's so airborne when he plays, and there's not a lot of him. So when he comes down hard, and there's lots of ankles and knees and all sorts of things in that landing space. So injuries are going to be part and parcel when it comes to Ja Morant. Pacers and the Bucks in the next game. Bucks get the win here, 129 to 117 for the Pacers. Halliburton better, 18 and 9, no steals, 6 of 14 from the field. So, I mean, this is a step in the right direction. It's still not ideal, and this would absolutely not be the time you want to sell. But hopefully he can start to ramp things up. Miles Turner was fine. Mathurin was fine. Everyone was just fine in this one. There's nothing standing out. To me, Quentin Jackson, who was a pretty popular pickup after that 23-point game that he had 9 points and 3 assists in his 22 minutes, and that is why he was not a pickup. Jarris Walker, 24 minutes. He's not doing enough. He's playing minutes, but not doing enough with them. TJ McConnell, on the other hand, has been pretty good the last week or so. 12 points, 8 assists, 3 steals. I think he's close. In a 14-team league, I'd probably pick him up. Having Ben Shepherd out helps. We don't know when Ben Shepherd will be back. But, yeah, I think, I don't know. We know McConnell can do this. I'd love to see him getting 23, 24 minutes, but almost 21 here is probably just about enough for, if you need assists and steals, nothing else, obviously. For the Bucks, usual suspects, Giannis, very good. Dame, very good. Lopez, the scoring fell off, which was always going to happen. He had 11 and 5 with a steal and a block. Torian Prince, just a 3-point streamer. Andre Jackson continues to start for whatever reason. Another decent game from Gary Trent, 6 threes. I don't know. I'm probably not. If you want to stream him in and just see if he can stay hot. But, I mean, if he goes, this is 60% from 3. If he goes, I don't know, 40, he's probably more of a 40%. So that's 12 points with 1 steal. I don't think we're really talking about him. So fine if you want to add him, but not much there for me at this stage. Mavericks played the Nuggets without Luka Doncic. He is out for a week. Dallas get the win in the end. This was back and forwards. They got out to a lead. Denver pulled it back, took the lead. Dallas ended up winning 123 to 120. And we got a good PJ Washington game, 22 and 13 with 3 steals. Just ride the wave. With PJ, you hold him, and when he has those bad games, you just focus on the next game. Do I talk about Klay Thompson now? No, let's talk about other players first. Derek Lively was in a lot of foul trouble, only played 20 minutes, but still had 11 and 6 with 2 blocks and a steal. He is the center we want to be owning or rostering here. Quentin Grimes started, as we expected, with Luka out. 29 minutes, 14 points, 3 assists, 2 steals. Probably needs to be added. I think we weren't sure what the minutes going to look like. We assumed he was going to start, but we didn't know if it would be 22 minutes or 28, and it was 29. So if he's going to play close to 30 minutes, he needs to be rostered. A few more minutes for Gafford with Lively in foul trouble. He had 13 and 6 with 3 steals and a block, and he won't play 27 minutes, but he still needs to be rostered. And Najee Marshall out of nowhere, 26 points, leads the team in scoring, 11 of 15. Unsustainable shooting, but he has been doing enough to be rostered. And with Luka out, they are going to need him a little bit more. So I think we're okay just to plug him in there and let him go. A couple of questions there. We'll get to those very shortly. On the Denver side, Jokic did return after the birth of his child last Thursday, I believe. And unsurprisingly, 33 points, 17 rebounds, 10 assists. So picks up exactly where he left off. He's pretty incredible. Michael Porter Jr., obviously with Jokic back, everyone adjusts. Jamal Murray scoring comes down, 14 points, but still had 11 assists and 3 blocks. Weirdly, Christian Brown, he just continues to plug away at top 50 value, 17 and 5 with a steal and a block. Michael Porter Jr., 17 and 5 with 5 assists. So nice from Michael Porter Jr. And Peyton Watson still putting up value, 3 blocks, 15 points, 5 rebounds. Russell Westbrook, we got a good Russell Westbrook game. The shooting, we don't need to talk about the shooting, but 16 points, 4 assists, 2 steals. So the counting stats are fine if you can ignore the percentages. And Julian Strather, not much there. Where are we? Notable that Jordan played more than Saric in this one. Saric obviously has been starting with Jokic out, but I'm not surprised that with Jokic back, Saric basically falls out of the rotation. That's what we saw to start the season. They had to match up size-wise here with Gafford, and Saric is not that player. So a little bit of a matchup. It'll be one of the two, depending on who they're up against. But as we know, Saric, when Jokic is healthy, is not anyone we need to be considering at all. Okay, and the final game, Sacramento and the Los Angeles Clippers. Clippers with an impressive win here. They look good. Maybe they don't need Kawhi Leonard. For the Kings, they had all their guys back. DeMar DeRozan was there. Sabonis was there. So pretty much fully healthy other than Malik Monk. We had an okay Keegan Murray game. 10 points, 9 rebounds, a steal and a block. It's okay, but it's not great. But I do think he will be better with these guys back on the floor. Sabonis was very good, 24, 15, and 4 with a steal and a block. De'Aaron Fox was very quiet. I remember watching bits of the first half and then checking in, and he was very quiet, but he ended up with 29 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, and a steal. Despite the return of DeRozan and Sabonis, he still got plenty of shots up, and DeRozan had 16 and 6. He looked pretty good as well. But with those guys back, Kevin Huerter, Keon Ellis, Trey Lyles, they all take a hit. Kevin Huerter started, but had 0 points, 0 of 5 shooting, 2 blocks. If we want to pull a positive out of this box score, I'd probably give him another game. This was just a poor, quiet game where he didn't have a lot of confidence, didn't want to shoot the ball. So I would give him one more game. But with all those big names back, I don't think we're sort of concerned too much with holding him. Keon Ellis, the same goes for him. He did have some defensive stats, no steals, but 3 blocks. But 16 minutes is not enough. And yes, the DeMar free throws, 4 of 8, weird. That does hurt. Absolutely hurts. So they're the games. Now let's see. Okay, let's go back up to the comments here. All right, Cow Chat, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I want to be angry at Dyson Daniels. How dare you? All set and ready for his return to earth, and he mostly did that. Yes, he did. Yeah, like I said, the shooting, it's going to be up and down because he is not a noted offensive player. I think he certainly made some strides offensively, but there was even at the start of the game, he had a wide open layup and just bricked it off the back of the rim. So offense will come and go, but the 4 steals, he'd had 2 0-steal games. And from a guy that's getting so many deflections, they are going to turn into steals eventually. So he did get 4 steals. And I'm assuming this relates to Dyson. Stuck in a weird, totally unsustainable setup, but with ridiculous floor. Yeah. Look, sell high, maybe. And the steals are obviously sort of boosting his overall value quite significantly. But I like to think, as I said, that his offense will come around a bit. He's a good rebounder. He gets blocks as well from the guard spot, hits threes. So I think there's enough there just to hold him. And then we've got a question from Lone. There's, out of these 3, who would be the best 3-point streamer tomorrow? Okay. Tim Hardaway, Gary Trent, or Champagny? Tim Hardaway's been pretty bad since he came back. Let me just pull up the games for tomorrow. It's tomorrow, Saturday. Okay, so the Pistons play the Magic. So I probably wouldn't go Hardaway because the Magic are a good defensive team. And who else did we have? Champagny. They play the Warriors, and Gary Trent, the Bucks, play the Hornets. Maybe Trent against the Hornets. Warriors are a decent defensive team as well. Spurs, and it's in San Antonio. It's in Milwaukee. Yeah, look, maybe Trent. It's hard to know. It's throw a dart, really, but I might go. I might go with Trent there. And yes, I have heard Dyson's new nickname, the Great Barrier Thief. Very nice, whoever came up with that. What are your thoughts on getting rid of conferences and going with 16 best teams for the playoffs? I'm for staying with conferences. Yeah, I think there's let's postpone this scan. I think there's pros and cons for both because obviously at this stage, the Western Conference is far better than the Eastern Conference. I definitely wouldn't Well, do they even still do that? If you finish first in a division, does that mean you, like, even if you have a worse record? I know they used to do that. I don't know if they do anymore. I think it's just top 8 in the East and top 8 in the West. I definitely wouldn't get rid of conferences, no, because, it would just make it too lopsided, I think. And, I don't know. For me, I like having the whole East-West divide. I think it's one of the appeals of the competition. Here in Australia, we don't have that. We don't have as many teams, obviously, but we don't have conferences and things like that. So it is just the best 6 teams or something make the playoffs. I like in the US that they have the ability to have conferences and divisions and things like that. That's one of the appeals for me. So I agree. I would stay with conferences. Mitso Bass asks, is Carrington a drop in a 12-team league with Brogdon starting? Yeah, I talked about this. Maybe. We assumed Carrington was going to stay in the starting lineup. I thought he played quite well as a ball handler, but Brogdon is obviously the more proven of the two, and he's a good player. He's just injured all the time. So I would probably give Carrington one more game, and if they start Brogdon again and Carrington plays 20 minutes or 22 minutes, then yes, I think he's a drop. I think there will be a point where Carrington is starting again. And yes, Couch had said, I can't. Brogdon will get moved or injured. One of the two I can almost guarantee that will happen, at which point Bub will be an ad. But I also don't think that if you drop Carrington and then someone picks him up in 2 weeks because Brogdon gets injured, I don't think Carrington is going to turn into this guy that's getting 20 points and 8 assists every game, because we've seen what Carrington can do with Brogdon out. And if we bring up his numbers so far this season, and loading. Okay, so Bub Carrington's thus far this season. So he's playing 30 minutes a night, 10 points, 5 assists and a steal. So even if he gets up to 33, 34 minutes, what are we looking at there? 12 and 6 with a steal, which honestly you can stream that. I do like Bub, but I don't think he's this player with tremendous upside that you need to be holding just in case. Next question. Is McBride worth activating, or should I stream one of Trent Musa or Zach Collins? Is McBride playing tomorrow? Have we heard? I don't know if I remember. Is he? He might be questionable. I'm trying to think. I did the injury report today, and I think he might have been upgraded to questionable. Yes, questionable for tomorrow. What's he missed? 4 games, I think, 4 or 5. 4 games. There was an illness in there as well, if we remember back. No, I probably wouldn't activate him yet. Let's see if he plays first. But in terms of those guys, for streaming purposes, Trent Musa or Zach Collins, Trent, like I said, he could get some threes tomorrow. Musa has been very good if you just need rebounds, and with Miles Bridges out, I like Musa as a streaming option for blocks and rebounds, and Zach Collins has been good, but Wemby's questionable tomorrow. So if Wemby returns, then no to Zach Collins. So if you can hold off until we get some word, it might be in a few hours. I don't know. I don't think the first injury reports come out till around lunchtime. So, if you can hold off, I probably would. Do we think Washington's new rotation will be another Utah Golden State scenario? It could very well be. The Wizards, let me just jump back into where's their box score? Okay. So tonight they had basically all 4 bench players played sort of 17 to 20 minutes in that range. And then they had Marvin Bagley out. He was active and available but didn't play, so he will come into the rotation at some point, I would imagine. There's not really anyone else there. They might like to get Johnny Davis some minutes at some point, Jared Butler. Yeah, look, until Brogdon goes, I think it could be a situation where let's just run with the hot hand. Like if Carrington had come on here and hit his first 4 shots, maybe he gets 27 minutes. Kispert, we know, is like that. If he's playing well, they'll just pump him 30 minutes into him and he'll get him 25 points. So Washington are definitely in that Utah basket in terms of we don't care and we're just going to play guys if they're shooting the ball well. Golden State are a little bit different because they're obviously winning, but they also are able to go very deep into their rotation and makes it really hard for fantasy, which is unfortunate. All right, that will do, I think, for today's show. I was going to do the games, but I've got some other stuff I need to go and do, so I'll get something up on Twitter about those games later. But thank you, everyone, for listening. Sorry it was a bit late. Tomorrow I'm coaching, but should be back in time to do the usual live show, which is about 5 p.m. If anyone wonders, that's 5 p.m. my time that I usually do it, which is midnight Eastern in the US. But no, 1 a.m. Eastern. And what's that? Like 10 p.m. Pacific, I think. So that's when I usually do it. But that will do for today. Thank you, everyone, for listening. I am Adam King. This has been the Balls Deep podcast. Until next time, catch up.
You just listened to another episode from the Fantasy Basketball International Podcast Network. Thanks for joining us. And for more information about joining our community, please check out our website at fbibasketball.com.